Mm.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the 2A Brotherhood podcast. We're so grateful to have you guys back here again. We have a special guest, brand new guest this week, Eric, aka the American Asshole. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Like I said, we're grateful you chose to spend your Friday night with us. But if you want, go ahead and introduce yourself, and we'll get started.
Most definitely. I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to come on here and talk with you guys and hang out for the evening. And my name is Eric. I am the American Asshole. It's a brand that I started. Hasn't grown very much yet because I just don't know what I'm doing with it. But I started this brand about 8 years ago. Um, you can see where on my website where I have different things where I've drawn up why I came up with the name, how I came up with the name, and it was kind of an interesting story. I moved to Erie, Pennsylvania, and I took my kids, my family out to the lake. And as we were leaving the lake, it was a crowded road, two-way road, and we were pulling out and trying to leave, and traffic was stopped, and we backed up, and there was a car next to us. In the middle of summer, all our windows were down, and the car next to us, it just so happened to be some tourists from another country. And they kept on berating me about where the best beach was to go to find all the girls. And I kept telling them, just drive around, guys, just drive around. You'll find something. You'll see them. That's where you stop. But they weren't taking that as a good enough answer. So they kept berating me to the point that I actually had to yell at them about it and tell them that my kids are in the car. You guys need just get the fuck out of here. Drive, go do your thing. Go drive around. And they got kind of mad at me and they called me an American asshole. And it stuck. So I told them thank you and we moved on. And I talked to a good many of my brothers, my friends that were in the military, and they told me that was their name every day when they were overseas protecting our country. Was their name was American Assholes. So they kind of stuck, and I've been trying to build this brand for a while now and get it out there. It's difficult, obviously, as you guys know, trying to build a brand. It takes time, it takes work, it takes concentration, it takes dedication. And especially with a name called American Asshole, it's it's a difficult name to get out there. But once people hear it, they seem to instantly gravitate towards it. They completely understand what it means. It has nothing to do with the bodily anatomy. It has to do with who we are as a people and how we stand up for our rights, our beliefs, and our morals and our values.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
I definitely agree. That's a pretty kick-ass name, number one. And also kudos to you for handling yourself in that situation. I know for me, I probably would have got a little hot-headed a lot sooner than that. But yeah, especially if I had my kid in the car,
Yeah, it's a difficult thing to be able to keep control of yourself when you have two young children and people are being as rude as they are, trying to get information. And some of the things they were saying about girls, well, my daughter was on that window at 8 years old.
Yeah.
Old enough to understand what they were saying, but just
Nope, not happening for me. So what do you specialize in? What type of content can people expect to see from you, and what are you trying to push for your brand?
Right now we're pushing shirts. I've got a couple of shirts out, and the biggest thing that I want to be able to do is probably the same thing that everybody else is trying to do, is I want to put my brand on everything, obviously. So trying to figure out how to just sell the brand itself is what I want to be able to do, because I've had so many people making shirts for me. Right now I'm on my fifth person making shirts, and that's the way I want it to go. I want it to be not one single person making a shirt or making all the shirts and supplying all the shirts. I want it to be everybody in every little state, every mom and pop that has a shirt printing station or something along those lines, somebody that makes hats. I want them to be able to sell American Apple from their store just as well. I don't want it to be just one person. I want it to be outreach to everybody. I'm actually in touch with a guy that I met a couple of days ago on TikTok. He does custom leather holsters. And I asked him if he could print my brand on that. And he said, dude, yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd definitely do it. What do you want it to look like? And I gave him a little bit more information. And I sent him one of the logos that I had. And I asked him, would you be willing to print these if orders came to you? And he said, yeah, dude, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's figure out a way to get that to work. So that's the idea I have for it. I don't want it to be just me. I want it to be everybody. I want it to be the opportunity that everybody can make money off of it, not just the American asshole.
Oh, that's great, man.
Where can we find your merchandise?
AmericanAsshole.us.
Oh, that's awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
We've been having difficulties finding the suffix for our website too. There was like US and what was the other one? Patriot or
Live.
Yeah, live. All that stuff. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's the guy that I found to build my website. I went through a lot of people just because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a contractor. I build houses, and that's what I've been doing my entire life. I don't know really too much about the internet except for how to look up things I shouldn't be looking up. But I had a guy build the website for me. He did a very good job at it. We were going for www.com, but the .com was actually owned by a Canadian company. AmericanAsshole.com is owned by a Canadian company.
Don't you hate that?
It's kind of funny because if you like rabbit holes, go ahead and chase that one. Look up the URL and chase that rabbit hole. It'll take you on quite a loop.
Really?
Yeah, it's a good one to look up. But he found he got it on US.us, and I thought that was very fitting. He thought it was very fitting, and it turned out to be pretty good. And if you see those shirts right there, the one you were just looking at, the 509th, my brothers, my best friends, I call them my brothers, my best friends, they were in the 509th. Okay. And one of the things they wanted to do is once they got out of the military, they kind of lost contact with all of their brothers, all of the people that they served with. And what he wanted to do with that is to make this shirt so that when he's walking around town, if anybody else recognizes the shirt, and the only people that are going to recognize those symbols are people that were in his service or in that specific unit. So that's why he wanted to put that shirt out there so that people can they can recognize it. And even if they weren't serving together at the same time, they still see that shirt and see the symbolism and the meaning behind it. They can gravitate to each other. They met each other that they've never met before. So we're trying to get more specific units to be able to do more shirts like that so that we can bring all that brotherhood and sisterhood from the military back together here in the States.
Yeah, that's awesome. Me and Josh
we have
so
I've maybe met one person in the Army who deployed with that unit or was stationed in that 509th, which apparently is it's split between two battalions between Fort Johnson, Louisiana, and Fort Richardson, Alaska. Does that sound right?
I wouldn't know. I don't go too much detail with them on that.
Yeah, I don't think I ever met anyone from the 509th. Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, it looks like they're pretty small. Units, but rich in history for sure. I mean, I only met one or two people who were actually stationed in Alaska. So it's kind of a privilege to get a duty station out there. So yeah,
Were
dude.
you in the military?
Yeah, Austin and I were both in the
military.
Army.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
yeah. So we know the symbolism. We respect, the what that stands for, having something to recognize, and the camaraderie of being able to see someone share that with you.
Yeah.
So yes. Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys want, share with me the units that you were in, and we want to be able to do, like I said, we want to be able to do them all.
Yeah, for sure.
I think you might like this one, and it actually might be a little familiar because it's kind of like it's kind of a big unit, I guess. But I was in the 10th Mountain Division.
Yeah, his is a little more known.
So that one I love, the cross swords, and then the barrel. It's like a powder keg barrel, and then mountain because it was mountain infantry warfare.
Yeah, me and Josh are actually talking about going back in.
Nice.
To the core.
Yeah, to the core.
I'm going into the core. Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about going back in. It's kind of been on our bucket list for a while now, just trying to work out the details, get back in shape for me, and work it out and go back in, re-enlist. Especially now that we got Big Daddy Trump back in office.
Yeah,
this is the time to be, man.
So many changes are about to happen.
Yeah, Big Daddy Trump coming back. Time to get back in.
Time to clean it back up.
Yeah.
Yes. Clean house.
I'm really surprised with to hear what he was doing about all the people that refused the jab. He told them, was like, we want them back, and he's willing to give them full back pay.
Yep.
4 years worth of back pay.
Dude.
At their the rank they were when they were forced out. Like that is wild.
I was actually talking to my buddy the other night about that, and we were laughing about it. It said the same thing. All that back pay, there is going to be a lot of strippers getting put through college.
There's going to be a lot of strippers with new rings on their finger, getting married, new benefits, and all that.
Yep,
and a lot of Hellcats.
Dude, because listen, there was probably some privates. They were just freshly enlisted that didn't want to get the jab.
Yeah.
So you got to think about it that way. They're about to get, a 5-figure check in the mail.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, and then you're gonna have a lot of car dealerships that are gonna be really happy. Yeah, I tell you, man, it's gonna be honestly, it's gonna be a good time. But no, I just the respect for that.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it. The way he's going to handle the military. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the first time I was in the reserves at the time Trump took office. I was active duty during the Obama administration, but even though he handled when I was in the reserves, we actually got a pay increase, and they incentivized enlistment and like different career paths you can take in your service, and there's way more opportunity. It was more focused on training. During the Obama era, there was a lot of cutbacks. There wasn't enough funding for a lot of training events, so you had soldiers that were kind of illiterate in their fields, and it was like that for a good couple of years. And as a matter of fact, during the Obama administration, they shortened. He wanted to cut a bunch of troops, so one of the things they did was shorten the retirement age or the retirement qualifications to 15 years instead of 20. So a ton of good soldiers retired early that we sorely needed. But it is what it is. And yeah,
I got out right after Trump got in office, like 2017, like that year. Trump was kind of just getting his footing and everything. Was when I got out. So I just saw the Obama administration, and yeah, just like Josh said, it was just it wasn't the same military that you heard about before going in. Like it wasn't, all the older people. I have a lot of family that were, in the military, and it wasn't the same. It was drastically changed. So even now, like we were talking about the other day, it's drastically changed now. So much more. And I think we really need to get back to our bare roots and just start training warriors and not crybabies.
It was definitely sad talking with my brothers. We would have campfire conversations of what they remembered it being like when they were in the calamity, the brotherhood that it was, and they were glad they got out at the time they got out, but they were definitely saddened with the way that things had changed. They definitely hurt them watching the downfall of our military man, and how it weakened us as a nation, watching these things happen.
I remember the funniest shit I heard, but also the saddest shit was Josh, you probably know the key phrase "make a hole," right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they were saying, for us, you can't say "make a hole" anymore because it's offensive. And I was like, "What the fuck do you mean for that?" Like, that's the stupidest shit I heard. I don't know if you heard that, but for us, like, we were being told not to say "make a hole."
How's that offensive?
If there's a gaggle, so like if there's a group of people like standing around and somebody's trying to walk through the crowd, everybody will start to scream "make a hole."
Yeah,
to move out of the way. And if it's a woman, they're like, if there's a woman, don't say "make a hole" because it might be offensive to them. That's the key thing, though. It might be. So now we have to walk on eggshells in case they get offended.
Yeah,
and
that's not the military.
General Milley. You remember General Milley?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he was forced out already, but he was talking about trying. He's like, I want to identify my whiteness, or like, I want to know where my whiteness. He was like promoting white guilt and like all this other stuff, like bringing politics and like all that stuff into the military. It doesn't fit. The military is supposed to be like immune, and like, there's supposed to be a wall between politics and the military.
Gosh, you're not ashamed of being white? Sorry.
I am. I wear my shame on my sleeve.
Man. I can't believe it.
I'm definitely white. I'm living in a fucking camper, man. I can't be any more white.
Hey, listen, man. I think we all should be ashamed of the color of our skin, except for people of color, unless that color is white.
He said he wants to understand his white rage. That's what he was talking about.
White rage.
I think it's sad because
critical race theory.
There's a lot of kids that were grown up or that were raised with the mentality of not being a little bitch, right? And they join the military, and now they're being put in a military that is raising and breeding little bitches, right? But they want to be warriors, but they're just surrounded by a bunch of idiots, and that's the sad thing is you have people that are actually wanting to fight and be hardened, but they're just not given that opportunity. And that's like, because one of the greatest things about the American military is the fact that everyone that's there wants to be there for one reason or another. They volunteered for one reason or another. They might not want to be there when they're in, once you get in, but they volunteered for one reason or another. And it's a beautiful thing. But like I said, it's sad how we're turning the military into a bunch of crybabies.
It really says something for our youth right now. Is watching my son and my daughter, raising my son and my daughter through this era, and the school where they go to school. We raised some pretty tough boys. Some really tough boys and some really tough girls. My daughter she's state qualifier in her 10th grade. She was state qualifying wrestling, and we have one girl that actually went national this past years. She's an amazing wrestler, and some of the boys, they knew her name. They knew her name, and they did not want to wrestle her. But our children right now in this area, seeing what's going on in the military, seeing what's going on around the world right now, and especially here in America, they feel out of place because they are the rough and tough kids. They don't mind getting hit when they're playing football. They don't mind getting slammed when they're wrestling. They actually say something to the ref when the kid gets picked up and gets slammed and the ref calls the quit. You can't do that. You can't slam the kid. Our kids here at this school in this area that's wrestling. Mm-hmm. That's a part of it. That's a part of wrestling, and they're trying to take that away to soften our children. But then they see the videos that are going online from other countries and the way that they're training their soldiers and they're raising their children. I think there was what was it? It might have been Russia. I don't know, but the way they were teaching their children in the class how to strip and clean weapons.
Yeah,
it's such a difference when our children are being raised the way that we're raising them here, and then they're seeing what other countries and how other countries are raising their children, and then they're expected to go to war to defend this country, and they have no idea how to defend themselves or how to act when they get out there. It really put, like I said, my children are a little bit uncomfortable with the rest of the world because they know that if they see somebody crying, they're going to probably laugh at them.
Yeah. Well, it comes down to the parents that are raising kids these days. Every parent thinks that their kid, and I say this all the time, right? Every parent thinks their kid is special, right? Which to you, your kids might be special. To me, my kid is special, right? But to anyone else in this world that is not directly related or affiliated with my kid, no one cares about them. Okay. In a sense of they might care for their safety if they see my kids hurt, but they're not putting my kid as a priority over their family or their kids. You know, your kid is not special to everyone in the world, but people don't realize that. And they think their kid should be a priority for everything. And so they're raising these kids to be entitled and soft. I can't tell you how many kids I've seen that their parents do everything for them. And you got 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old boys that don't even know how to go outside and play with sticks or, do anything. They don't know how to go outside and get dirty and play in the mud. All they know is their iPad and mommy, can you open my water bottle? My child is 2 years old and she could open her own water bottle. Mm-hmm. Like I don't need to do stuff for her. I don't need to do everything for her. Obviously, the bare necessities that keep her surviving, but I think being a good parent is letting them learn how to do stuff on their own and allowing them the opportunity to learn. I mean,
and learning the consequences of doing it wrong. Also,
there was a really good quote I heard one time about let your kids do dangerous things safely, right? And just the other day, I saw my child. She was standing on the back of the couch, right? Like the part where your head is at on the couch. And she was standing there and she was jumping off of it and landing like with her butt onto the cushion, right? And I'm watching her and I throw a little pillow down in case like she falls and everything, right? But I'm not going to stop her. I want her to experience what different sensations are like for, jumping and landing and, falling and stuff like that safely. But I'm not going to sit there and coddle her and, oh no, don't do that. I'm going to let her learn, but I'm going to make sure she's safe while she's doing it, and it's about being a parent, but parents aren't doing that these days.
No.
They're making soft kids. And then when their kids are experiencing new things like getting slammed in wrestling, they want to outrage and they're going to call the school, and then the school's going to get a bunch of calls about it. and then they're going to stop it. And then you're hurting other kids that are trying to excel in their field. You know,
you're stripping that competition, that spirit of competition away from them.
That was stripped a long time ago when you started giving participation trophies.
I actually got in quite a heated argument at one of the wrestling matches, at the end of the wrestling match, because neither of my children placed. They did pretty horribly, and so be it. They were just getting into it. But as we were walking out, they were both handed their participation awards, and I told them both to put them back. Mm-hmm. And every parent was giving me dirty looks because my kids didn't understand. At that point in time, they didn't really understand why. But I explained to both of my kids, you guys, you didn't earn those. You didn't earn an award to being here. You've got to get those back. And, well, they gave them to us. Doesn't matter. You didn't earn that. You put it back. And one of the parents got really crossed the line with me and started arguing with me about it and how I'm raising my child. But both of my kids, they didn't argue with it. They gave them back.
Keyword, your child. Keyword, exactly. Your child.
Yep. They understood it. They put it back. And when we went back to that school, my kids wrestled, and my son actually took on a child that was twice his size. He had him by about 35 pounds, but nobody would wrestle this other kid. So my son stepped in, and I actually encouraged my son to go and give that kid a match because nobody wanted to wrestle the kid. He was a very, very large kid. So my son took him out they went out on the mat. They had an exhibition match, and they wrestled, and everybody appreciated that moment.
Yeah.
But the participation award, putting that back, that's what everybody had a problem with. And it kind of goes hand in hand when you think about it. It's giving the opportunity to a child that doesn't have an opportunity, but not giving them praise for that opportunity and not succeeding at it.
So you want to know what the sad thing is, right? I don't know. You're on TikTok. I don't know if you saw it, right? I didn't see it, but my wife brought it to my attention. Okay. There was a mom who was getting a bunch of backlash, right? And I think she was like dubbed the 27 diaper mom or something like that. And her viral moment kind of came when she was doing this cleanup of her house and showing what a normal parent is. And she had about 27 dirty diapers just lying around her house, right? Well, then people started digging into her past and started finding videos of the fact that when they were eating at tables or whatever, they weren't getting their child food. Or if they would approach their child's face too fast with their hand, to like in a shopping cart, put something away, the child would flinch, right? Which I tested with my child. If I could put my hand as fast as I want to her face and she won't flinch, she'll think it's funny and start to laugh, Yeah. Because I don't hit my child in the face. I don't hit my child at all, she's 2. But there were people in the comments that were still defending this woman, right? And so my whole point is people will sit there and look at what you did, as in telling your children to give back a participation trophy, and make a claim that you are a worse parent than this person who's allegedly possibly abusing their child, and not even having a clean environment for them to live in, not even having proper clothes for them in the winter. That she wasn't even giving them a jacket in the winter, and they will dub you as a worse parent because you taught your children a lesson that, kids need to be taught. And that's the sad reality of the world we live in today.
Yeah, it's unfortunate seeing the way things are going. Like my daughter just now graduating. She graduated last year, and we participate in a 2-gun shoot. I actually assist with the running, and I help build the courses and help run things along it. My kids get involved in it. And now that my daughter has graduated high school, she's got a job. She goes into the bigger city for her job. She's expressed interest in getting herself a handgun. and I'm supporting that. And if you saw one of my more popular TikTok videos, I was looking at one of the guns. I was at a popular store looking at one of the guns that she's thinking about getting. And somebody not minding their own business, looking at the same guns, decided to give me a bag of shit because of what I was looking at potentially purchasing for my daughter. And the video got I think it's at 70,000 views now and over 8,000 likes. Not big for me, but not really big. But people don't get it. I'm raising my daughter to be able to defend herself, but I'm also raising my daughter to go out into the world and to explore the world. And one of the things that nobody really, whenever people ask, well, what freedoms do you think you're losing? What freedoms have you lost? We're not losing our freedoms. It's not as simple as making a very particular answer is we're losing this or we're losing this. One of the hardest ways to describe the freedoms that we're losing is when I was young, I left the house at 16. I had a Jeep Wrangler, no doors, no top, and I traveled from Pennsylvania to South Carolina to Florida to Texas. No hotels. I just pass out at a random gas station. When I needed to sleep, that's where I would sleep. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
That's the freedoms that we're losing. Yeah, my children will never experience the freedom of being able to hop into a Jeep and drive from Pennsylvania to Texas and sleep at a random gas station with no doors and tops on your vehicle. My children will never be able to experience that. And that's what's sad about it. That's the freedoms that we're losing. And me wanting to buy a gun for my daughter for her safety so she can go out and try to experience something like that, that's the kind of shit that I was getting that day. And it's not going to stop me. She's still going to get one. She can't wait for it. But it's the way we raise our children in this horrible, horrible world right now is kind of it's life or death, the way that we raise them.
Well, real quick, if you're looking for a gun, check out Cockdy Firearms and use code 2AB and get 10% off your order. All right.
And if you want a holster for that, you can go to Goliath Defense. Use the same code 2AB at checkout for 10% off site-wide. They make awesome holsters and pistol belts.
Competition holsters, concealed carry holsters.
Yep. And
I'll definitely look into it.
Cockdy Firearms has a wide range of rifles, pistols, everything you need, and they will ship it to your FFL. And you know, they're a really great company to work on. We actually just had him on the podcast last week. But to get back to what you're saying, we really need to start watching how we're raising our kids. I mean, you got parents these days that are affirming their, children that haven't even hit puberty yet. They're affirming their transgender children that haven't even hit puberty yet. And I've always said, I don't care what people do with their lives. Okay. If you're transgender, I don't care. Okay. It doesn't affect me. I have no issues with you as a person. I don't care. All right. It's your life. You do what you want, right? Keep children out of it. Do not put your views, your life-altering views onto children that are innocent, and you're raising people that are soft and in a sense, like you said, we live in a lot more of a dangerous world these days. You can't do all the things you do, so we're losing freedoms, like you said there, and then gaining freedoms that we don't want on the whole other side with, affirming children and you're making it a worse country to live in.
Yeah, most definitely.
Well, that they were banning the books. You talk about the innocence, stealing a child's innocence. The books, which tantamount to pornography inside a public school, where children in the elementary school from pre-K through 5th grade have access to that kind of stuff. And You guys have probably seen those. The men who the parents will go to school board meetings and will read excerpts from those books that have like like I was saying, pornography, and the school board doesn't want to hear it. And they're like, well, you allowed it in the school, you it's okay for the kids to read it, but you can't hear, because deep down it's wrong, and kids don't need to be exposed to that.
I saw one where a parent was reading a book on how to suck a dick.
I saw that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What the fuck? What the actual fuck?
You don't need a book for that.
I don't, but neither do I. Don't for different reasons than kids don't need them. But
it's experience. It's experience. I got that.
Learned the hard way. I learned the hard way.
No, making going along that point though too. It brings in social media just as well, because if it wasn't for social media right now, we wouldn't know about these things.
Yeah.
Because mainstream media isn't putting it out. Last year, I was down in South Carolina visiting my parents, and I was hanging out, just having dinner with my mom and my dad. It was just the three of us. And we just got on the topic of politics, and my parents just couldn't believe any of the things that I was saying. And then after dinner, I was sitting down with my mom, and I just pulled some of the things up on my phone, and I was showing my mother, and she's mid-70s. She could not believe the things that I was telling her were actually true. She couldn't believe it. And half of the people that she knows, they have no clue as to what's actually going on, because they're so stuck on the propaganda from the mainstream media, and they're not paying attention, and they wouldn't know where to pay attention. Us at a younger generation, we're more geared towards this type of information coming from you and me and everybody else, the people here that are actually dealing with it. So if it wasn't for social media, thank God Trump got TikTok back up, but there's so many other avenues for us to be able to get this information, to see how our children are being influenced from these horrible things, like the books in general.
Yeah. And I honestly think that's one of the reasons that they wanted to shut down TikTok is they see the amount of information that's being put out, and they see the fact that we're not letting this shit slide. And it's that it is back up, but only temporarily. It still has a possibility. I think it's 90 days, 60 or 90 days. It's in review under the Trump administration. So when Trump was signing his executive orders, he was saying like it could go away still. It all depends on how they want to, if they want to make a deal or not. But I think that was one of the big reasons as to why the Biden administration really wanted to, Biden administration, a bunch of other, Democrats really wanted to get this taken down, was because it's a very big platform for conservatives to speak on. I mean, it obviously has its rules and regulations, and, shadow banning is a big issue when you start talking about guns and different stuff like that. But I feel like there's a lot of conservatives on that app that are shedding light on topics that no one's speaking about.
Yeah. And
it's really hindering them. It's really, really setting people back. Because like you said, your mom doesn't know. My parents, didn't know for a while until they started getting into YouTube shorts and TikTok and everything like that. And people are really starting to open their eyes and see how far we've turned.
That's right. And then that's going to affect the future generation of Americans and potential leaders. It's going to affect a whole generation. And you bring it up every once in a while, but that's the generation, the weak generation, that creates hard times in the whole. The weak men create bad times, and then bad times create strong men, and then the whole cycle.
That's one of my favorite sayings.
Yeah.
Hard times create strong men create good times create weak men create hard times. And that's one of my favorite sayings because it's true. And yeah, we are in the weak men right now creating hard times. But caveat to that, I see with my child, I see with other children, there are the few that are, becoming strong. They're hardening themselves with the fire, and they're taking it in and the right way, and becoming who this is a country need them to be. And obviously, like I said, my child's too, so she's got a long way to go before really seeing anything. But just seeing certain kids, obviously, we still have those the soft kids that are their parents are coddling, but there's a lot of kids that are really, and we were talking about this earlier, Josh, on the phone. I also see a lot of kids these days coming to Christ and picking up their Bible, and it just shows that it's, I don't know your religion, I don't know what your beliefs are, but for me it shows that we can't, we're not at the point of giving up on this country yet, or this society. There's still a lot of hope left today.
Well, I myself, I was raised in religion. To keep it simple, it's a big part of my life just as well. And a lot of people that I talk to, when I had my construction company, I used to chase storms. So
nice.
I'd go in
badass.
Yeah. It was a good time. It kept me busy. I started right after Hurricane Sandy in New Jersey. That was my first one that I went to with the company, and I started my own company about 5 years after that, chasing the storms going down. It was a blast, but I met so many people doing that they couldn't believe that I was a religious person because I'm sporting the name American Asshole. They didn't understand that, and it was kind of hard to come up with a way to explain it to people. And it's in the very forefront of saying it, it gets people irritated. It kind of pisses people off. But if you think about it, back in Jesus's time, they may not have had the term asshole in the meaning that American asshole is, but Jesus had to stand up for beliefs. He had to stand up for what was right. And if you remember, Jesus also, that was loud. Jesus also, he kicked people out of the temple. He kicked the merchants out of the temple. And he had to do that, and he stood up for it. So being a religious person and having a brand called American Asshole, I also have to believe that at that point in time, Jesus had to be an asshole himself, because he was standing up for his morals and his beliefs, and he was taking on the weight of the world and humanity on his shoulders. Yeah. So he had to be very stern. He had to stand up for that.
Yeah. I mean, being an asshole, like people sometimes call me an asshole. You talk to some people and I'm the nicest guy, right? I joke around, I laugh. You talk to other people and I'm a straight up asshole, right? But it's knowing who needs it and what you believe in and what you're standing up for, because I'm gonna be an asshole to people that are coming for me and mine, I'm gonna be an asshole for people that are coming out, my family, my friends, my beliefs. You can say whatever you want about me. I don't give a shit, but I know when to be an asshole. And that's a big thing. Being an asshole isn't a bad thing. It's just standing up for what you love and what you believe.
Assholes unite.
Yeah. Let's all pucker up and put our buttholes together.
I didn't go that far.
No, it's funny because right now I had a bunch of patches. Right now there's about 1,500 to 1,600 of the American Asshole patches out there floating around up and down the East Coast, just from handing them out to people. And the amount of people, I've only ever had one person out of the thousands of people that I've met and talked to about American Asshole, and the only reason it's failing is because I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to build this. But the thousands of people that I've talked to, I've only had one person that didn't like it, and that was my old boss.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you right now, the only reason he didn't like it is he knew it was going to take it. He was going to take me away from him.
Mm-hmm.
But I've sat down with people who are straight up Democrats and had amazing conversations with them, and they love the name after the brand. They loved it after describing it to them and having a conversation with them. They actually agreed with it. They understood that American Asshole has nothing to do with politics.
Yeah,
American Asshole is meant to be factual, not political.
Yeah,
and that's the point behind it.
Yeah. It's a way of life.
And real quick to speak on to not knowing what you're doing, it's all a learning process, and I see what you're doing, and I have strong beliefs that you're going to take this far, man. I mean, we're all learning, even with this podcast, we're still learning today, everything. We've been doing it for 2+ years now, and we're still learning today.
Right.
I mean, it's all a process. But I can see you're doing big things, and you're going to take it far, but don't give up and keep it going strong,
It's the only thing I know how to do is fight.
Yeah. And it'll come to you, but especially with, like I said, I feel like TikTok conservatives are really taking over TikTok, and with it coming back, I think there's a chance for a lot of people to be discovered and to grow, and it's getting there, man.
So. TikTok won't allow me to have a TikTok shop. They won't allow me to have it. They don't like the name.
Oh.
I bet you if you would change it to Trans America, they wouldn't have a problem.
No, I've actually had a lot of people tell me just change the name a little bit, make it American A money sign, something along those lines. But my argument to that is that defeats the name. Mm-hmm. I can't change it at all, and I won't change it. It has to stay what it is, because that's the whole point behind it. If I were to change one little thing about it, then it completely defeats it.
You're caving into the system of what they want.
Don't conform to what they want you to do. It's your idea. You name it what you want and do.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I do like Trans America.
or the trans asshole. The American asshole with a tuck option. But no, yeah, I mean, like I said, it's coming, man. It's coming, and I think we're really, like Josh said earlier, I think we're on the weak men creating hard times, and right now it's forging hard men. And we're not at the point where everyone is being forged, but it's slowly forging hard men. And we're getting to that point to where we're really going to see some changes coming, and I'm excited for it. Hard times. It sucks, but I'm looking forward to the new creations that we're going to be seeing, and the new routes we're going to be taking to overcome it.
Yeah. Well, speaking on the excitement that everybody's showing to see what's going to come from this administration these next 4 years, it's definitely going to keep everybody on their toes in a different sense. I mean, for the past 8 years, we've all been on our toes. We've all been at the edge of the seat, waiting to see what's going to happen, or anticipating the worst, hoping for the best, but planning for the worst. Now we're past that hump where the worst may still happen, but we know we have a better person in charge of averting that and stopping that. So we're on the edge of our seats, just in a different sense.
Mhm.
and we have an American asshole as president.
I'm honestly kind of sad because I feel like this is the end of the shit talking politics after Trump's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like it's the end of the shit talking politics, like the getting down and dirty and calling out, your mama jokes and shit. Like this is the rough and tumble, fucking slamming people on the ground wrestling version of politics,
Yeah.
And I think it's gonna end with Trump, and unless we get someone else that comes in and takes his place, I think it's gonna start getting back into the politeness, and no one wants to see that shit. That doesn't make news,
I don't know. Watching Vance right now, I'm definitely in the beginning. I didn't trust him. I still have my reserves about him, but in the beginning, he did seem very held back and very reserved.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing some of the things that he's saying right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's very straightforward with it. He's cutting these journalists off, very abruptly cutting them off and not letting them continue with bullshit questions or however you want to put it. He's cutting them off. He's really putting a stop to it and throwing it back in their face. And he's getting a pretty good backbone, and I think that's coming from him being right with Trump the entire time. So if it does come down to it, if he ends up running or he becomes the follow-up, I think it would probably continue on to be, because let's face it, you can have something beautiful and it'd take a minute to break it, and it's going to take 100 years to build it back up. So we're going to need more people with that backbone that Trump has to be able to rebuild this country.
Yeah. I mean, we got a lot of good contenders with JD Vance. I mean, even Ron DeSantis, I wouldn't be opposed to having him in, and I know he's excited to get into office and get his shot. We saw him a lot. I mean, obviously him and Trump were going at it in the beginning, but I think he has what he did with Florida. He has a lot to prove.
Yeah.
And, so between him, JD Vance, a lot of other big contenders. I think there's a lot of
Vivek Ramaswamy.
Yeah,
he's a contender, and of course Gavin Newsom, right?
Yeah, love Gavin.
Contender.
I love how he handled the LA fires.
Right?
His leadership and his ability to take action.
And the homeless problem they have too.
Yeah, his leadership and his ability to take action really just show what type of person he is, and I'm excited to see him try to run for president again and see how far it gets him.
It's sad that it took the California being visited by a Chinese ambassador for them to clean up the streets and all the. Yeah, it's just sad that and then the Mayor Bass, who was supposed to be in charge and handling business, was somewhere in Africa when the fire started, and came back and had absolutely nothing to say. And then as she, I don't know if you guys saw, but as she's reading the teleprompter, she says, all of this information and more can be found at URL or something like that.
Yeah.
Instead of like the actual place. Huh?
I'm honestly sad that it took a fucking city burning down for people to realize that Gavin Newsom is a shit person. It took all of that for people to finally come to their senses and realize maybe this guy is not the person we want running our state.
Did somebody say he's resigning after this term, or
he should?
I did hear that, but I didn't get a chance to dive into it and to see what the
I didn't either.
Behind it.
I do know Justin Trudeau is resigning or resigned.
It's crazy because last year, you had while President Trump was campaigning, he went to California and brought up all of the issues that California might face if there's wildfires break out, and they all happened. And he says, you guys need to do this, this, and this. And now all of a sudden, the fires break out. and they did absolutely nothing that President Trump had suggested. And then the conspiracy theory started coming out about California's like building a brand new like city of the future and or something for like the Olympics in 2030. But it was all to diverting all of the water and dumping the fresh water into the ocean was all in the name of protecting an endangered fish or something along those lines. So
yeah, that's what it was. It was protecting a fish.
Human lives.
And then CNN goes on there, does a live broadcast from inside the forest fires, and they're blaming all the citizens in California for the firefighters not having enough water. They blame the citizens for using up the water.
Yeah. Well,
they're good at doing that, pointing the finger.
Yeah. Well, we've learned from the past few years that the only people that are endangered and worth saving are oppressed groups in society. So
and not white people.
Yeah, we're not endangered. So we're not worth saving. But so real quick to get back on the guns a little bit, you said that that you guys do a little 2-gun.
Yeah, we do. It's called Erie 2 Guns. Started it about 2.5 years ago. One of our local shops up here, Keystone Armory, very, very awesome people out there at Keystone. The manager out there, he had started this, just a group of us getting together. We have a little competition. Once a month, the last Sunday of every month, we get together and we do this. It's a good time. Sometimes there's 25 people, sometimes there's 10 people, sometimes there's 50. It's a pretty interesting time. Sorry, my phone's going off. But yeah, all ranges. It's a good time. I don't really know how else to explain it. It's pistols and rifles.
I was just about to ask. So that's pistols and rifles. Yeah. So we've had a lot of competition shooters on. Not a lot of them have gotten too much into 2-gun. Like what goes into your 2-gun competitions and everything and shooting. I've seen a lot of. I've actually wanted to get into 3-gun a lot, but what's your prep for 2-gun? How do you guys prepare and train for that?
Really, it's one pistol, one rifle, and one transition course. So we have 3 separate courses that go on. We split the groups up, so we have two separate groups going in to make it go throughout the day, to make the day go faster and be able to get it done. We didn't want to do it as a 3-gun because we want to be able to have it more realistic and more easier to be able to run. So sticking with just the pistol and the rifle makes it easy, makes it fun, gets everybody involved. Is not everybody's going to be able to bring out 3 guns and have the money to blow through that much ammunition, and having it happen in just one day, having it all be able to be completed in just one day. It's easier with just the 2-gun. So we set up our courses. I draw the courses up. We go out, we set them up on a Saturday evening, sometimes on the morning of, depending on the technicalities of the course, and then we run it.
That's awesome. I've been really looking into it. I want to get into at least 2-gun. Like I said, I really wanted to try 3-gun, but at least 2-gun this year, and start working at it, because I feel like you said, a little bit more realistic. When you get in like the IDPA and all that, it is realistic for just pistol, but I really want to start getting a little more in depth and real world, like shit hit the fan scenarios.
And that's it. That's the way I draw out the courses. They all have that kind of situational awareness. The way that I set them up, it's either a close quarter combat situation, or we have a car door, and we carry that car door. It's got a lot of holes in it, but we carry that car door, and we set up some of the courses revolving around that car door. Either you're on a chair shooting from the car door, or you're exiting the car door and using it as a conceal, not a cover, but helping people understand that type of thing. This isn't the movies. This is potentially real life, that situations that you need to be able to be cognizant of what can be cover and what can be concealment too. So understanding that much just as well, the way that we tell people how to run the course is very important to the completion of the course too, because you can't have people just leaning up against a wall considering that to be cover. We have to have that going around the corners and making sure that you're keeping your concealment to be able to get to the next target, and not keeping it as cover, keeping it as concealment. So that the way that I'm trying to set up the courses is to be able to help people understand situations that they may end up in. Yeah.
So what are you guys shooting? Like what pistol, what rifle do you have, and what are your setups?
Mine, I run a. I'm particular with the Springfield. I run a Springfield XD40, bare bones, nothing on it, and I have a Springfield Victor that I run. Everybody else has whatever they bring. We've had AKs. We've had all sorts of them. Just between pistols and rifles, it's nothing in particular. It's whatever you have, you bring.
Oh yeah. We actually find out the Cock D Firearms guy that we had on last week. He's really big into Springfield. I believe he said, right? He's
Yep.
Yeah, he's real big into Springfield too. Oh, Smith and Wesson. That's right. Okay, never mind. Scratch that. My apologies. I stand corrected. I thought he said Springfield. Yeah, no, he's a Smith and Wesson guy.
You say you shoot a 40 caliber?
Yeah.
What made you choose 40?
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Rob's in his comfort zone now.
No, I was just asking.
All of my friends had 9s. I had to up them in one way or another, and it just fit. It felt so good. It fit. I had no particulars in it. I really don't know. If you know that you've seen the movie Ronin.
I have not.
Yeah, I think I may have.
An Al Pacino movie, a great freaking movie. To me, it's a toolbox, and it's going to do its job. It's a tool. It's a tool in a toolbox. So the reason I grabbed the 40 was because all my friends had 9s, and I just wanted to be the oddball. So I had no particular reason to using it and sticking to it, but it's grown on me, and everybody's told me I need to upgrade and I need to get something new. No, I don't. Yeah. I rarely clean it. I've 500-600 rounds. I get maybe one misfeed, but it's just quick. It's a quick disassemble. It's so simple to break apart. I've never had a problem with any of my Springfields.
Yeah. So out of us, Rob's the one that shoots 40. He shoots 40, and
I think you can shoot a 9.
Yeah. I actually got a chance to shoot his and I'm not really big on 40s or anything like that, right? But we did some training with Josh Morgan. He's a master class competition shooter.
Nice.
And he took us out to do some training out in Delaware. And I used Rob's pistol for the first time. And we were doing a drill. It was at 20 yards, right? Starting at 20 yards. I think it was 20 yards and then to 15, I think. And then 10 or 5. Yeah.
Only 5.
It went from like 20 to 10 to 5, right? And at the 20-yard mark, first time using it, right, I was popping them rounds off. I was just busting them down, and after the end of my, and I didn't do so good. I'll admit that I did not do that great. But after the end of it, Josh Morgan had come to me and said, "Have you ever shot at 20 yards before?" I said, "Yeah, but not with the 40." He said, "I've never seen someone exhibit such confidence at 20 yards before."
Classic.
But it was comfortable. I mean, I didn't mind it. I just, for me, 9mm is the way to go, just because ammunition is cheaper, double stack. You generally get more ammunition into a magazine, and a lot more people use 9mm. So if I'm ever in a situation to where, a real world situation to where I'm running low on ammo, and someone near me has surplus, it's easy to swap out and to get extra. But 40, you're not getting as much real estate in the magazine.
You mean 2 left?
Yeah.
I'm sick. Mine's a 12 stack, one in the chamber.
So 12 with one in the chamber, or 13?
13.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I get 16 with one in the chamber for my G19. Well, 15 with one in the chamber, making 16. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a 9mm guy. I like it, but he likes the 40s, man.
My son is running my XDM 9mm. That's his favorite. He likes it. It fits him well. He's okay with the 40, but he's better with the 9.
Yeah. I was really surprised with because you have a compact or a subcompact. So I was surprised with Rob's subcompact 40. It really didn't kick as much as I was going to expect from a subcompact 40. I think it less recoil than my G19. Like, it felt like, honestly.
I haven't been through too many Glocks. Like I said, I for some reason I was just particular with the Springfield. It fit. I'm able to hit at pretty decent yards, and I've never had a complaint with it.
Yeah.
That thing, it's 10, 12 years old. Same one. I haven't replaced anything on it. It's still a nail driver.
Yeah. How you feel about revolvers?
Yeah. They're a toy just as well. I've never had one, but I've shot them. They just, to me, they're okay. Like I said, it's a tool in the toolbox.
Yeah,
exactly.
So you mentioned one in the chamber. You normally carry one in the chamber?
Yeah.
So I actually talked to someone today, and it was probably the first person I talked to that does not carry one in the chamber. And I was very surprised by that. And he was adamant about, and it was funny. I was actually talking to someone else who said their brother did the same thing.
What was their reasoning for it?
So for both situations, right, with the guy whose brother doesn't, and for this guy, mechanical safety. And the one guy I was talking to has a Glock, and it doesn't have, obviously, a mechanical safety. It has a trigger safety, drop safety, yada yada. But it doesn't have that physical switch, right? That physical safety switch. And so he was like, I just don't want it to go off. And I said, well, get the right holster, bud.
Yeah.
But he was adamant about not carrying one in the chamber, and I basically asked, was like, so what's your point in carrying? Like, to make you feel better? Like, it's not doing anything. You might be able to use it as a scare tactic in certain situations, but
a placebo
or a free gun for the person that shoots you.
Yeah, exactly. You know, but what's your point? Like, what's the point in carrying at that point? You know, and I don't mean to say this to bash on anyone that might be listening that doesn't carry one in the chamber.
Different for different folks.
Yeah, but I mean, if you really look at it, it's honestly a safety hazard. And one of the things I mentioned to the guy I was on the phone with, who said his brother doesn't, he, like, I was telling him, was like, at 5 yards, you know, I could basically get to you before you even draw your gun in most scenarios, you know. Mm-hmm. At that point, like, for me, if you come at me, I know that if I get it out, I can pull that trigger and something's coming out most likely. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you have, you know, misfires and, you know, malfunctions and stuff like that, but most likely something's coming out of the end of that barrel, right? If I can get it out. If I don't have one in the chamber, I have to fight someone off, rack the slide, and then hope that when I pull that trigger, something comes out, you know? And it's too many extra steps that I'm focusing on. I'd rather be focusing on fighting this guy off, getting it out and pulling the trigger, not having to focus on the extra steps.
You ain't gonna pull it out to show it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like I said, at best case scenario, it'll scare off someone that is coming up on you. Best case scenario. But the second you go to rack that slide, they know that you're not ready. And as you're trying to rack it, they can proceed further and come at you, you know?
Yeah.
No, it really comes down, and also a person's confidence with having a firearm on them. Mine doesn't have a mechanical safety either. It's the switch, and it's this. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest thing, is the confidence in the confidence in the tool that you're using. Mm-hmm. So, but the way that I draw, I practice my draw a lot, and my draw is not what a lot of people do. Draw and bring up. My draw is push out. It's the same. It's the way it should be. It's a draw straight out to have it right here in case you have somebody at that 5 foot distance that's charging. You don't want to draw and pull up and carry it up. You want to draw, have it right there, and then push out towards your target. People, I've seen so many people that do that draw and bring up when it should just be the draw, turn, and push out. In my eyes, everybody's different, but in my eyes, if somebody's charging me, I want to have one ready to go at the shortest amount of time that I can get it out.
Yeah.
Because you already at a disadvantage. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Rob.
I was going to say, because you're already at a disadvantage, you know what I mean? You're playing defense, you know?
Yep. Yeah.
So for me, it's a little different because I carry appendix, right? So it's kind of awkward to draw and then point and then push out. Like, you kind of have to draw and get it up and get your, you know, for you, if you're carrying on your hip, you could draw, push out, but, you know, it's a little different for me. But I've been working. I constantly work on my draw. I will sit here in my room, you know, and just practice my draw continuously, and just to make it more efficient, better. And I think everyone should do that. I think everyone should, you know, take 5 minutes out of your day and just practice to get that repetition in, and make sure, so that way if it ever comes down to it, we don't use the term muscle memory anymore on this podcast, but, you know, get the reps in, and that way when it comes down to it, you're confident enough in yourself to get it on target, which is something I've been really working at, and I don't think I'll ever stop. You know, I don't think I'll ever stop. I even, like I said, I appendix carry, so I even practice drawing with my left hand. You know, I practice reaching and drawing with my left hand. Gun upside down, you know, drawing with my left hand and trying to get it right side up. Like, I practice multiple different ways of drawing for every scenario, you know.
Because you never know if something's in your way. You can't do a normal draw. So understanding every aspect of it is where the confidence comes from.
Yep, exactly.
Mhm.
You know, which is one of the reasons I like carrying appendix. If something happened to my right hand, I don't have to reach all the way across my body to pull. I can just get right to a comfortable spot and draw my weapon if my dominant hand is taken out of the picture. You know, that's one of the deciding factors for me that led me to appendix carrying. I do like carrying on the hip sometimes, from wearing sweatpants or, you know, like gym shorts or something like that. But 99% of the time I'm carrying appendix for that reason, you know.
The only reason I'm not appendix is mine is it's big. It's 5.4 barrel. It's a big barrel. So it's appendix. I'm close to pushing my dick in there. So
Yeah.
I can't put it there. It has to go on my side. But that's just where it's normal for me. That's where my memory goes. That's where it's normal for me.
If your gun's not touching your dick, your gun's either too small or your dick's either too small.
I can agree with one of those, and I'm pretty sure you know which one it is. I'm white, so I'm at that disadvantage.
That's why you carry a 40, right?
Exactly. I'm compensating.
Yeah.
Try to build my confidence back up in a different way.
We all got to make it up somewhere, man. I get it. You know,
I think it's more functional to have it on your hip. Let's say if someone's right up on you, you know what I mean, and you know, trying to pull it from, you know, appendix carry and everything. It's like, I think to be hard, you know what I mean, trying to, you know, push somebody off you, and you know.
But again, if someone takes out your dominant hand, right, takes out your drawing hand, you now have to reach all the way across your body to get it, you know, and still draw upside down, you know.
Carry two.
Yeah, I mean, one on your right, one on your left, you know.
Dual wield.
That'd be a heavy belt, you know. But
if only we could, and well, we can, but just minus the questions and the eyes from everybody else. I've seen it in Walmart down in Texas. Some of the old heads, they still do it. They're still packing both sides, and they look amazing doing it.
Yep. Yeah. Dude, honestly, I would love if we weren't in a world to where I'm afraid of someone taking my gun as I'm like cashing out at a register or something like that. I would love to just like open carry, like just every now and then, like fucking 2 old Western pistols and like the old leather holsters, like a fucking cowboy, you know, like the old revolvers. I would love to do that just because it looks badass, dude. Like you got the 2 old revolvers just sitting there, you know, like I would love to do that just for the cool factor of it.
Right.
But now I get what you're saying, Rob, about someone being close up on you, but you could always create a little bit of distance. If someone's like that pressed up against you, you know, you really need to focus on being able to create distance to make room to draw. But like I said, for me, if someone has my dominant hand pinned, I don't have to worry about not being able to. I can easily draw.
Next time I'm over there, let's do drills.
I will be happy to. I will be happy to do it. We will run it over and over again and see what the results are, and we will post. We will post the results. Okay.
Cool, man.
In whatever fashion you can, whatever channel would take it and accept it.
Yeah. Can we role play while we do it?
I wouldn't go that far, but
like I'm
we see where it goes. We just see where the night goes.
Like I'm a drunk woman coming home from a bar. And you're a scary, aggressive man coming to take my innocence.
You mean you coming out of a gay bar and you know I'm a Proud Boy?
All right. So you guys think the Proud Boys are coming back now? Speaking of the Proud Boys, you think
they went away?
You have not seen anything about them recently. Like, tell me during the Biden administration, you've seen anything about the Proud Boys?
Yeah, but I mean, they're still a group, though, right?
Not really. A lot of them. I mean, didn't they get labeled domestic terrorists?
They did.
Well, you tell me.
Any patriotic person was when the Biden administration was in there.
Yeah.
Anybody with a Gatson flag, anybody with a Punisher logo.
Yeah, Punisher. Yep.
I was a Proud Boy for a very short period of time.
You just admitted.
Elaborate on that, Austin.
I wouldn't be surprised if American Asshole's on that watch list, and like I've said before, I would wear that as a badge of honor.
Yeah, right. I'm sorry.
I was only talking with the group for a short period of time because I used to work in the offshore oil field, and so I'd be gone for a long time, and I wouldn't be communicating in the chats and everything, and they didn't like that. So, yeah, it kind of one of those things where I wasn't keeping up to date with everything going on. I wasn't going to events or anything, and so they were like, "Yeah, no, we're gonna
church.
Not talk to you anymore."
What'd you say, Josh?
Said he missed church.
Yeah.
The Proud Boys church.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm really curious to see if they make a comeback.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if Antifa is going to make a comeback because they were huge during President Trump's first term.
They were burning flags, stomping on flags, like all that stuff.
People ain't gonna put up with that dumbass shit.
Well, apparently they sent feds out to protest, but they were carrying swastika flag, like Nazi flags. There was a whole group of them, and they were just marching down the street trying to. I don't know what they were protesting.
The one in Ohio.
I believe so.
Yeah.
People were like, "Oh, you're just agents trying to start a riot."
Did they do it in an inner city place?
Well, because the thing was that they were wearing the shiesty mask. Every single one was wearing the shiesties, and the ski mask and everything. And it's like, I don't know if you have that far of an opinion. I don't think majority of them are going to cover their face. I think they're going to be proud of the fact that they have that opinion, and they're going to make it known. Look at a lot of like history with it. A lot of like the neo-Nazi groups. They didn't cover their faces typically, at least from what I saw. Going into researching it after that came out, I was looking it up because I'm like, is this a typical thing they do? And I didn't see it.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but this was back in the autumn, I think. Protesters, but
I think they were definitely feds. They were all fit dudes, and that's like key number one, because you're not going to find all fit dudes these days in a group. There's going to be one fat ass walking around, and, like, they're not all going to be fit. It doesn't matter what the group is. It doesn't matter who you are. You're not going to have all fucking fit, in shape, federal fucking agent style guys coming in with shiesty masks.
You seen the people that they was hiring for the IRS, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God, yeah.
IRS agents.
You don't see one fucking fat guy. They all look like feds, don't they?
Fresh out of boot camp. Fresh out of CIA boot camp.
Where do you get those flags at, man?
I don't know.
The FBI printed them out.
Custom made by the feds. Like I said, you don't see one fat fuck there, okay? They all look like they do morning PT at the gym at their FBI location.
Yeah. They all got back into vehicles with government plates.
Why don't they do that in Baltimore City?
I kind of wish I would have known that was happening. I would have loved to have attended that, just to sit in the background and watch it, call them out.
Oh yeah,
that was in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, I don't know how far away that is from you.
There was another one.
I can't believe you didn't hear about that
in Detroit.
No, I saw it afterwards, but I didn't hear about it. I saw it afterwards. Of course, they're not going to put something like that. They're not going to really push on, hey, pay attention to February 17th. We're going to do a Nazi march. Yeah. You're not going to see a whole big fucking prep for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like
just watch the FBI Twitter page.
FBI Twitter page.
I think the People's March. I was looking it up because I caught wind of that on Twitter or X. I was looking at it and I didn't understand it, so I went diving into it. The People's March was an LGBT something community all getting together to go and do protests, and they were doing these protests saying that they were going to be all across the nation in every major city, and then TikTok went down. And you can't find any videos of these marches or any videos of these protests that they say were happening. Evidently, it was millions of people, but not one video. I haven't seen one video from it.
Well, I could tell you, I live pretty close to Baltimore, and I didn't hear anything about no LGBT march going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it said on their website that there was that they had millions of people signed up, and they were going to be meeting in every major city in the country.
Dang, millions. They
must have been midgets.
Yeah, that's a big number for a lot of little amount of people.
They had to double it up if they were little people.
Yeah. I'm actually really looking to see what comes of it. You know, are we gonna get all those protests and those rallies coming back? You know, because they have kind of died down. Yeah. And I really feel like people are gonna start protesting again.
I think woke people actually woke up.
Well, if you noticed, the biggest riots and protests happened while President Trump was in office.
Yeah.
All that stuff happened while he was in office. Not when Biden was.
I feel like, well, there were a couple when Biden was in office, but it was...
There was nothing like when President Trump was in office.
No, nothing like it. But there were some...
Yeah.
Well, wasn't the like when they burnt down the police station in Milwaukee, wasn't that under Biden?
I don't remember that one.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that was under Biden. But no, it was nothing like Trump. But the thing is, a lot of center or left of center people did vote for Trump this year because they see how bad and how left the left has gotten, right?
Mm-hmm.
So over the past few years, because of the fact that they've all been affirmed and they've all been told they're great and this and that and blah, 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 and everyone caters to them, they just gotten more and more to the left.
Yeah.
And so I think, honestly, this year, or this administration could be worse.
Yeah.
Because people are really, it's basically like when you have a child and every time they throw a tantrum, you sit there and you give them what they want. And eventually, if you stop doing that, they're going to have a complete meltdown tantrum. And I think that's what we're facing right now.
Mm-hmm.
They've been given what they want. What's that?
I also think the weather has something to do with it. They're too pussy to go out in this cold.
Yeah. No, we're not gonna see it right now. No, once it starts warming up, I think is when we'll start seeing it.
Fair weather protesters.
Yeah,
fair weather. Yep.
Yeah, that's the only reason something hasn't started right now.
Let's talk. Y'all want to talk about these Biden pardons?
Oh, his family.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you kick it off, Rob?
Like, why did he pardon his whole family?
Well, better question of that. Better question of that. Okay, why did he need to pardon his family?
That's what
preemptively.
Kind of
because he knows President Trump is going to start prosecuting. They're going to investigate all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't emphasize the need. He didn't see the emphasis of need. Okay, because why did someone do something? Why do they need to do something? Are two separate things. Why he pardoned his family? Because he's corrupt and he's a little bitch. Why did he need to? Because his family's a bunch of fucking criminals.
I'm not too sure, but I don't think some of them pardons were actually legal, though.
Yeah. Well, because I was talking with my wife about this, right? And she was like curious as to why, and she couldn't understand why he did it, And I was trying to explain to her, well, why would someone need to do that? Because right now, right, and she said, well, yeah, if I was president, I'd pardon my family. I was like, but you wouldn't need to pardon them if they weren't criminals.
Right. If you
pardon is only good. You don't pardon people that are innocent and haven't done anything wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
You pardon people they've been convicted of something, or they could face conviction of something. If
I like how.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say I like how Hunter's pardon went specifically back to 2014. Like this is when the corruption began. You know what I mean?
It was very specific.
Anything before that.
Well, my views on it are that it's when Hunter was pardoned in the very beginning, it took away, it gave him his right to be able to leave the country again. And at that very beginning of when he was pardoned, that was when everybody was talking about the N-word with WW3. I don't know how clean I've got to make it so you guys don't get in trouble, but a lot of people were talking about it in that sense, that the reason he needed to be pardoned was because the family was going to be leaving the country for safety reasons. So now that pardons are lifted from all of these people that we all know are criminals, now they can leave the country because they know that our current president is going scorched earth on them. We see it happening right now. For instance, Anthony Fauci. There are so many countries that are after him for crimes against humanity because of what he did and what is proven facts that he had done and he was involved in. Now he's able to leave the country. He's also now able to be extradited from from our country to other countries. So it's a rumor. I haven't had a chance to look into it about Vladimir Putin saying that he wants him. But so be it. If his pardon is in place now, he cannot be held in the country. So now he can be extradited. And what I heard today, Trump specifically said that his security detail has been pulled. He no longer works for the government. He shouldn't have a security detail, which is valid. None of them should. If they don't work for the government, none of them should have a security detail. And plus, he specifically said they made enough money off of the pain and suffering of American people. They could afford their own security.
Yeah.
And it's not like the Secret Service right now is worth much anyways. We've seen some of their blunders.
Right.
So I actually watched, I don't know if you remember a while ago when they did the interview interrogation of Dr. Fauci. I watched that whole thing, right? And that whole interview, interrogation, whatever you want to call it, right, was basically him just shoving blame elsewhere or saying, I don't know. He was blaming the CDC. He was blaming everyone else, like the 6 foot distancing, the kids staying home from school. He was blaming the CDC. Like, it was just, he was either diverting questions or, just not taking responsibility. And you could see that he knew he had been caught. He'd been found out. He had been fucking, he had been ruined, essentially. No one will ever fucking take his word for shit again. And you could kind of see it during that. I think it was a fucking disgrace.
Mm-hmm.
It most definitely was.
Mm-hmm.
The other disgrace that goes along with it is when they are questioned by our Congress or whoever is questioning them, that they get those I don't knows. I'll have to get back to you on that. That drives me absolute batshit crazy every time I hear it, because I spend a lot of my time. I go into court because my vehicle registration. I got screwed over by the DMV multiple times, so I'm not registering my vehicle with the state anymore. And all my studies have shown that it's personal vehicle registration is it's a sham. It truly is. We have that right as free American citizens to be able to travel on all highways and roadways unfettered and unrestricted. But when I was last in court, just this past what was that, Wednesday, I couldn't get away with any of those. I don't know that. I'll have to get back to you on that. I don't have that. I don't have that luxury of being able to say that. It doesn't work for me. But for them, if they're sitting in a courtroom, they get that opportunity. I have to have all those answers up front, and I have to know inside and out to be able to battle every bit of it, every second, every question. And they don't have to. That drives me absolute batshit crazy that they get away with it.
It's it just shows how corrupt our system is for politicians. Like politicians are so favored in the sense of it's basically the do as I say, not as I do politics, you know. And it's really fucking disgusting, and not a lot of people realize like that's a real slippery slope.
Yeah.
To full on tyranny or
like
tyranny,
you know, just like the insider trading,
and
you know, Congress and everything. We can't do that. Martha Stewart got locked up for it.
Yeah. I saw them pushing that, right, for Congress and the insider or the Senate, you know, in Congress doing the insider trading thing, you know, because people have gotten rich following Nancy Pelosi's stock trades, right? Because she's the most successful stock trader in the fucking world, you know, and so people religiously there was a whole subreddit to people that were talking about Nancy Pelosi's trades, you know, and following them, and they were pushing it, and the guy was like, I can't remember who it was that was pushing it, but he was basically advocating for people in Congress and in Senate not being able to trade. And all these people were like, well, I agree with that, but what about my business? Does that mean I can't have anything with my business? I can't own stock in my business? And he's like, you shouldn't be able to sit there and have any effect on the economy with, you know, with trading and being able to affect that. Like, why is this such a big deal for you? You know, but they were just focused on the fact that, oh, I'd have to sell the stock of my business. Well, you're a fucking politician. Why do you need to focus on your business? You need to focus on the American people. Fuck your business.
Right?
I
personally don't believe elected officials should be making six-figure salaries, especially if they've been elected to represent the majority, you know, like just average, hardworking, everyday Americans. Just, you know, give them a median salary. You know what I mean? They don't need to be running around making, you know, $200K. You know.
Oh, dude.
I personally don't believe that's right.
I think they should make an average of what their people make. You should take the average of what your people make, you know, in your area, your district, and that should be your income. You want to see our fucking economy grow? That's how you fucking do it. We were talking about it a long time ago, Josh. Remember the head of Baltimore City Public Schools. She makes $400,000 a year.
Jesus.
Right.
And I don't know if you know this, being from Pennsylvania and all, Baltimore City fucking public schools are a dumpster fire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
An
man.
absolute dumpster fire. Okay. So you're telling me that the person that is in charge of that is making $400,000 a year, and
You
she
said
can't
a
even do
large
her job
portion.
right?
And it's
A
kids
large
that can't read.
percentage. They said a large percentage of the graduating class of seniors can't read at a 4th grade level, but you know, in that proficiency, you know,
And she's making $400,000 a year.
like she's failed at her job. Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
she
And
completely
it's
failed.
the same with politicians. You got fucking Gavin Newsom, like we were talking about earlier, that failed as a politician. How much does he make a year?
Too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, there's still people that probably will vote for him again.
Yeah, people are stupid.
You know they will.
We as humans are inherently stupid. You know, and it's a sad fucking fact. We go with the devil you know mentality. The devil you know is better than the devil you don't, and we follow that shit through and
I
through.
guess they already know they're gonna get fucked over, so
yeah, but they know how they're gonna get fucked over is the thing. So they're prepared for it. They're lubed and ready. You know, but they're too afraid to fucking make the leap, and that's the thing about Donald Trump. Donald Trump was a leap. He was a leap of faith. You know, he was a leap in a different direction than where we've been going with these standard fucking politicians. And it's proven that it's not the worst thing in the world. It's proven that taking a step in a different direction and going for non-traditional isn't going to end in a disaster. You could actually get improvements in our country by changing it up a little bit. Donald Trump was never a politician. He was a rich as fuck businessman.
But look what I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, and look what they did to him. They tried to destroy him in every way possible, man.
Because he's non-traditional.
Yeah.
He's not your traditional politician. And these politicians are afraid. They're afraid that, I mean, look at the AK guy on YouTube, Brandon Herrera.
Yeah.
He was running for, what was he running? Well, no, this was in Texas, in his district in Texas. He was running for some seat in politics. I can't remember which one. And the guy that was running against him, right? Same thing. Like, he's a fucking shit show. And people were tired of him, right? And because of this whole thing with Trump, to where people are realizing, taking a step in a different direction, he got close to beating this fucking dude. And he's a YouTuber that likes AKs. You know, he's nothing special. Great dude from watching his videos. Never met him, but it seems like a really great dude. But he almost beat this guy in a straight up fucking race. While they were trashing on him, they played some dirty politics on him. But
if you watch it, Brandon Herrera, we would love for you to be on a podcast. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But it just shows that you know, Donald Trump is an example of being able to step out of your boundary, step out of your box, and get improvements. You know,
it's opened up the door for so many other people.
Yeah,
there's a gentleman that I follow on TikTok, Blackjack American. Fucking, he is brilliant. He's a brilliant man. He's very, very smart, and he's said it a few times. I've thought about throwing my hat into certain things, and quite frankly, that's what we need, is the average American to stand up and start throwing their hats into these ringers and going for it.
Yeah. I mean, what's it going to hurt? worst case scenario, you fucking lose. You know, just like
get trashed by the mainstream media.
Yeah. Yeah, your whole life is over, you know. They dig up all the skeletons in your past. But no, like in all seriousness, the worst thing that happens is you lose. People might shit talk you for a little bit. But then in a year down the road, people are gonna fucking forget about you. And you know, and then you can try again. But you really it's unless you have some real dark secrets going on in your past, like some real deep shit, you know, yeah, like try it. The worst that's gonna happen is the people are gonna say no. You're gonna find out why, and then you could use that to run better the next time and do something to change the world. Don't just sit there and fucking cry about it and hold up your picket fence and say, "We want equity, we want equality." Fucking, you know,
you gotta take it.
Yeah,
like safe places, like.
But that's the thing is these leftists and everything, right? They want people to do it for them. So that's why the Democrat Party will never get to this point. At least for a long time. But Republicans right now, we have like you said, a door has been kicked open for us. For Republicans, a door has been kicked open for us for this opportunity to really show America what we're about, you know.
And show these other countries what we're about. Nobody respected Joe Biden.
Dude, we're a fucking joke. Do you realize that we're a joke to other countries? Yeah. I was watching after I don't go on TikTok that much anymore, right? I was doom scrolling my ass off, okay? But when I found out that TikTok had come back, I got on TikTok and all I was seeing was these people from Canada, from England, from all these countries shit talking us. And then we come back and they're like, "Oh, we missed you, blah blah blah." But you were seeing these videos about the Americans are stupid and they're funny to watch. That's what they think of us. That's what other countries think of us, is that we are stupid and funny to watch. We're entertainment to them. I'm sorry, but my country will not be entertainment for other people. This is not a fucking reality TV show for other people to watch.
Yeah. It's great, a reality TV show. I mean, that's a good way to that's a good analogy. I mean, that's basically what it is. Politicians and elected officials just going the last 4 years pretending like everything's okay and that President Biden is not, that like pretending that he's not or pretending that he is okay to be the president of the United States, just you know, pretending that he doesn't have dementia or something like that. Like, yeah, everything's fine, we're good. Like, they played everybody.
My screen's jumping around.
Yeah, if it kicks you, just gotta refresh again.
They played us all.
It's two Joshes.
Yeah, it's two of us.
Double the fun.
They just pretended like President Biden was cool, like everything was okay, that he didn't have dementia, and that he was fit to be the commander in chief.
Yeah,
it was all a game.
Imagine if we would have got in again, man. How you think that shit would be, man?
I saw a video, and I don't know.
Imagine if Hillary had gotten in.
I saw a video. I don't know. I didn't dig into it, so I don't know the truth behind it or how real it is, right? But this video I saw was someone talking about how he went to Trump and he asked him about a bill that he had signed, right? And Trump was sitting there like, "I didn't sign that." And the dude was like, "Yeah, you did." Or not Trump, Biden.
Biden, yeah.
Yeah. But he was like, "Yeah, I didn't sign that."
Shit, he was like, I heard that one too. I can't remember which one it was now.
That was Mike Johnson.
I think it was about LNG
energy bill.
Yeah, it was about LNGs, liquid.
Yeah, the offshore drilling. I think it had to deal with.
Yeah, And then Biden was like, "Oh no, I signed something saying we're gonna do research on it and investigate it more." And he's like, "No, you banned it. You fucking banned it." He's like, "No, I didn't. This guy didn't even know what he was signing. If that's true, didn't even know what the fuck he was signing. Are you kidding me?"
But most popular president,
Yeah.
81 million votes. But yeah.
Yeah, it shows what a joke we are. I mean, that's why, like, Donald Trump said it. That's why Russia invaded Ukraine. It's the sole reason. That's why our enemies have been plotting against us. You guys remember he just got kicked. We'll wait for him to get back on. Wait for him.
I wonder, does he know to refresh?
I told him.
Oh, okay.
I think he's back. It looks like he's back in. There he is.
Yeah.
You guys remember the Chinese balloons that were coming over before?
Yeah.
You think that shit would have happened with Trump in office?
No.
Exactly. That we're a fucking joke to them now.
Yeah.
We're a powerful joke, but we're a joke.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
So we need more American assholes to come together.
That's why everybody's glad Trump is back in office, and we're on the forefront of some serious and much needed change in the United States and the world. So
the world, yes, the world just as well. And it's gonna be very difficult. Looking at all the social medias, you see all the misinformation. Twitter is got so many bots that are just pushing the garbage, the absolute lies, and trying to find. I know it's gonna be a very, very difficult thing, if not near impossible, to correct this without impacting free speech. But there has to be some line drawn with the things that some of these people are saying on social medias, because it is an absolute lie, but they still get away with these absolute lies and no repercussions for them. And like I said, I know it'd be very difficult, and it'll tread on the free speech. It's going to tote that line, but something has to be done about that, because there are so many people that are reading these, that are following these people that are putting out this misinformation and these lies, and nothing's coming from it, but these people are listening to it, and they're commenting back on it, and they're building off of that, and they're trusting it. And that's going to be one of the most difficult things to be able to put an end to. That's going to be very damning if we can't stop that to some extent.
Yeah.
Yep. They pay people to literally just run a room full of cell phones with bot accounts on social media.
If I'm allowed to, I don't know if you're allowed, but I would call out one name in particular on X. It's the amount of shit that she spews needs to be stopped. It absolutely needs to be stopped. And I don't know how you'd be able to do it.
Call it out.
Yeah.
JoJo from Jers.
JoJo from Jers.
Yeah, if you look her up on X, it's, I don't know. She claims to be a mother of two, single mother. Her husband left her because he's a piece of shit or some garbage. I don't know, but
maybe she is the piece of shit.
But the things that she says is just so unbelievably wrong. It's something has to be done about it. And like I said, it's going to be difficult to be able to do anything about it, because it does tote that line to free speech, but there's got to be a stop to it, because it is very damning, the things that she puts out there, because there are so many people that follow her, because she's a single mom, but she's a paid collaborator for that bullshit.
Here on a 2A brotherhood, we call that a dumb bitch mentality.
I see. I'm on her Twitter or X right now.
Yeah, I found it.
It's really fucking hard to forgive anyone who voted for this shit. The serial sexual abuser who bragged about grabbing women by the pussy has already appointed a lifetime Supreme Court seat to a man credibly accused of sexual assault, and now he's appointed a man who has been credibly accused of sexual assault to lead our armed forces. What the fuck?
And Pete Hegseth has been cleared of all of that. It's just absolutely ridiculous that she keeps building off of shit like that and keeps putting it out, because there are, let's face it, like you said, as humans, we're inherently gullible and stupid.
Yeah.
There's going to be so many of us that are going to believe that garbage and those lies and not dig into it because of laziness. But still, there's going to be a lot of people, and that's what this past 8 years, 10 years of misinformation that we've been dealing with is because of people like that are getting paid to put it out there.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, they look at us as the ones spewing bullshit. You know, I'm sorry, but I've done my research. I've looked into this shit. You know.
Yeah, we do our own research.
Yeah. Your research is looking on fucking Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok for your political news. you look at what the mainstream media says about it, and then you fucking take that as gospel. You know,
right?
You can't back any of the shit up. Like all the people saying about abortion, right? Saying abortion is going to be criminalized across the world. You're stupid. You haven't done any research. You're fucking stupid. And then the people say, you won't be able to travel across state lines if you're pregnant. You're stupid. You're fucking, you're dumb. You know, all these people that sit there and just spew bullshit, but then say that we're the ones doing it. I saw a video. I don't know if you guys ever watch, what was it? It was a, like a Jubilee thing, right? You guys ever seen Jubilee videos?
The Indian girl?
They do like the what is it? Like Republicans versus Democrats, middle ground thing, you know, like they do middle ground. And they had one to where it was woke liberals versus like centered Democrats, right? And this guy was like, well, Republicans have just been good at creating boogeymen. They've been good at creating, you know, all these scary figures and shit and propaganda and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, you're the one creating a boogeyman. Donald Trump has been your fucking go-to boogeyman for everything. And that dude fucking takes a shit and you guys have something to say about it. And dude, you guys literally shit on him for drinking his Diet fucking Coke.
Yeah.
Like, you guys literally have to trash talk everything he fucking does. And we create boogeymen? No, we call out bullshit behavior. But we don't sit there and focus on every aspect of this person's life. You know? Like, it's fucking ridiculous, dude. I mean, arguably, no matter what side you look at, people will sit there and say, I'd rather have, you know, whatever person than Donald Trump as president, right? But if you actually look at it, like from a non-biased perspective, without that fucking lens, Joe Biden was arguably a more corrupt, worse fucking president than Trump could ever be on his worst day. And Trump's the one that's been impeached twice, possibly facing a third time.
Yeah.
In his first week in office. You know? It just it shows the level that they're willing to go to. I mean, we were looking at states that weren't even going to allow him on the ballot.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy that we had to fight to even get him on the ballot. The former president of the United States, we had to fight to get on a ballot so we could vote for him.
Because they knew what the outcome was going to be. Exactly what it was.
scorched earth as it's coming to be.
Yeah. The executive orders he signed, man. Yeah, man, the executive orders he signed, it's crazy. There was you guys see the videos of people at the border? I think it was MSNBC was at the border, and they were like, yeah, it doesn't look any different than it did an hour ago. And then you're seeing the actual videos of the border, and it's like, oh shit, like stuff's getting real.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, how much more time you want? If we don't want to hold you too long, man.
Oh no, you guys are good. Let me check real quick.
Yeah, we do this, we keep going for hours, man.
Yeah, if you gotta,
we will stop whenever you need us to.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, actually, let me call it right here, if we can.
Because
I've got to go pick up my daughter from work in Erie. She had texted me her car's not running right, but that was hours ago.
Man.
She let me know that it got to work, but she hasn't texted me back, so she might still be there, but I may need to go pick her up. But one point I wanted to make out, you had mentioned the border. I was actually down at the border, if you remember the trucker rally for all of that. Me and my partner in American Asshole, we went down to the border because we didn't go to follow the trucker rally. We just wanted to go and see what was going on down there with our own eyes. Mm-hmm. And you could see some of my my videos on YouTube on my channel. The things that we saw down there were absolutely disgusting and horrible. And that whole trucker rally was kind of disappointing, to say the least about it. It was more of a publicity stunt than it was actual support. Mm-hmm. It was horrible. We had an interview with an elderly man his property was right on the Rio Grande, and when he told me where the Rio Grande was,
we're still here.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
All I see is my big ugly face on here. But so I sat down and I was having a conversation with this elderly man, and he showed me where the Rio Grande was, and I was like, there's nothing there. There's no water there. He goes, yeah, that's the point. They shut the water off until all the governors come. Now you come back tomorrow. It was Saturday when I was talking to him, and it was bone dry. It didn't even look like a river was there. And he said, you come back tomorrow and that thing will be running free. It'll be full of water. And sure enough, I went back the next day and there's the Rio Grande running free. He said, that's what they do. They shut it down until the cameras come and then they open it up. He said, those people that were drowning, they were drowning because they were caught in the water that came rushing through when they opened it up.
Damn.
And there was the incident with the guy that was being harassed by the cops was very fun to watch, because the way he twisted it, I watched his videos on YouTube when he put them out, and an absolute lie. Those cops were so polite with that man, and so they worked with that man so much. And when he put his YouTube videos out, he put them out as he was being abused and mistreated by the cops. He was not at all. Those cops pulled him over because his vehicle wasn't inspected. It was misplated. It didn't have the right plates for the vehicle. They didn't match. So they pulled him over for that. He flipped out. Everything he was doing was an absolute show. When they told him they have to take the vehicle, he flipped out again. He started throwing all his shit outside of the van. They told him that he can remove all of his contents from the van if he wanted, so that he can have his property with him. Guns he had, he had all sorts of camera equipment. He had a couple of ARs, a couple of pistols. They allowed this man to take his stuff out of his vehicle. But when he put the videos out, he put them out as they were forcing him and they were abusing him. And we tried to call it out. And when we went to Eagle Pass the following day to see what was going on there for that part of the march, there were YouTubers that were there that were working both sides of the street. They would come to one side of the street where it was a bunch of Trump supporters. They would whisper to people to say things, and then they would scurry across to the other side of the street and whisper to those people to say things. And then they would they would get the arguments going so they could get the pictures going, so they could get the good videos. It was pretty fucking disgusting what we saw down there, the way that the media was playing people.
Yeah. So I think that correlates a lot with, I don't know if you guys saw it. I mean, obviously you're on TikTok. Did you guys hear about the influencers that were basically admitting to shit? They were kind of incriminating themselves, and there was a bunch of them. Like, there was fitness influencers that were basically saying, "Yeah, I don't do these workouts. I don't eat this food. I just take Ozempic," shit like that. There were people that were basically outing themselves, and it just shows that you really can't trust everything you see on the internet because people fucking lie.
Yeah.
When you have people that are doing all this shit, you could tell so fast that and it's hard sometimes to tell it's fake, but a lot of people you could tell so fast that it's fake. But yet we still sit there and just like watch it blindly and let it stir us up, It's ridiculous.
It truly is.
That like I said, that literally reminds me of the fact that people were doing, like, admitting to shit like this, when it all came about, when they thought TikTok was going to be gone forever, their last video would be admitting to shit right before it all got shut down.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, I am going to have to call it for myself. I truly do appreciate it. I would love to be able to do this again.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
I'll be available. I'll be a little bit more prepared, have a better headset and a better microphone and probably a camera, a better background picture, so you don't have to see my living quarters as shit. But
hey, you sounded great and you look great, man.
Yeah, we appreciate
I appreciate that. Oh, shucks.
Guys, go check out the American Asshole on TikTok. You can also find him theamericanasshole.us.
Yes, sir.
His website. You can get all of his merchandise.
His merchandise
stuff, tumblers and all that. Yeah. Thank you again, Eric. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. You guys have a great evening. I appreciate it.
All righty, brother.
All right.
Bye.
God bless you.
And with that, is there anything else you wanted to say, Austin, before I hit the outro? Rob, you guys good?
I love you all. I love you all. God loves you. Jesus loves you. God bless America.
Yes.
God bless
Keep
America.
watching. Leave a comment.
Please share.
Yeah,
Share with all your friends and family, because you know what? We need people on here, we need people on here who are opposed to this kind of stuff that we talk about. And we would love to have more debates, because the last debate we had was one of the most viewed videos that we have, and we want to facilitate more debates because that's what people like to see. And we certainly learn a lot looking at it from both sides, and we want to facilitate that again. So
exactly.
Yep.
And reach out to the Socialist Rifle Association and tell them we want them on the podcast.
Yeah, right. And then also you can now listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. You can find all of our podcasts on there now. So yeah, thank you guys for watching.
Yes, thank you.
Good night. And we'll see you next week. Okay, love you. Bye.
Yeah.